Hello everybody, and welcome back to OMB Reviews. I am the critic who is a cynic. Hope you're doing well, and today we're talking about Wonder Woman's international debut not going up to the standards that experts had thought it would, spelling possible trouble for this new Warner Brothers franchise, the second film, of course, in the Wonder Woman franchise, set by the new DCEU. But before diving further into this story, please be sure to smash the like or hit the rumble button if you're watching over there. Also, check out links in the description of the video to find out where you can follow me on various social media platforms and also ways that you can help support the channel. So as you see here, this comes from Deadline on the box office report. It says, Wonder Woman 1984 lassos $38.5 million in offshore debut as China cuffs expectations. So, what does this mean? It means, we thought this film was going to make a crap ton more money, and it didn't. Now, $38.5 million is still a fair amount of money, but when you spend well over $100 million on production costs, you're gonna have to make a lot more than that in order to make your money back. And since you now have your film going straight to, on Christmas Day, HBO Max, which is great for people that have HBO Max and don't mind watching films at home, the theaters that, they just got part of some money in a bailout that recently is at least in talks right now, has not been officially passed yet, definitely is something that they're not going to be very happy about, especially if it's not doing nearly as well as the experts originally thought. So we go ahead with this Monday update. It says Warner Brothers DC Wonder Woman 1984 in 32 international box office markets. It opened this weekend, and it opened to a $38.5 million at 30,000 screens. This is well below the $60 million the industry was expecting ahead of the launch, and is largely down to a soft China debut of $18.8 million in what was a slow Middle Kingdom movie-going weekend overall. There were also sudden market closures over the past several days overseas, which did not help. So, of course, obviously, everything and anything that happens in Hollywood where the money does not come in nearly as much as they think is obviously going to be blamed on coronavirus, is obviously going to be blamed on the markets not opening up, and that does make some sense to some extent. However, it also could be the fact that no one really wants to watch this movie. I know there's going to be some DC fanboys that are like, me, you can't say this about her, Gal Gadot is queen, or anything else pro-DCEU, but here's the thing. The DCEU has been in dire straits for a long time. Yes, we can talk about how Wonder Woman made a fair amount of money when it first came out. The first one came out. We could talk about how Aquaman was literally the first DC property, the first DCEU property, more specifically, to break $1 billion. But when you especially look at a lot of the other DC properties that have come out, the major properties that have come out, they have not really made a whole lot of money in comparison to other giant big budget films, right? They've made money, but remember, Justice League, which was supposed to be their version, the DC version of Avengers, guess what? It actually lost money at the box office. It only made $600 million worldwide and cost a crap ton of money to make, and it did not make its money back, at the very least, when that first came out. Now, obviously, I know that we're going to be talking about how, Justice League, it's going to be saved because Zack Snyder, he's recutting the film, and it's going to be great, and hashtag release a Snyder Cut, and hey, I'm happy for everyone who's getting what they want from that, and anyone that's happy about the potential of that film and of that property. I myself do not have high expectations because I just don't think Zack Snyder is that talented of a film director. I feel terrible for everything that's happened in his personal life, but I just really am not a fan of his work. With that being said, though, people look to the trailers for this, and I think some people absolutely are going to be hyped for it. But when you look at the international marketplace, it's obvious that not a lot of people are really excited for this film. Keep in mind that this movie is not doing nearly as well as a film like Demon Slayer coming out in Japan. It's literally making hundreds of millions of dollars in Japan, pretty much in Japan alone, and it's not even getting any massive release in other marketplaces. This film is going to get all the bells and whistles attached to it, major Hollywood production, but I think that a lot of people are at the point where, hey, it's going to be on HBO Max, which means, hey, if I'm in America, I can watch it right away on Christmas Day, or literally I can just wait a little while because since it'll be online, it'll be very easily piratable not long after that point. So I imagine that that is probably a reason why this film is not going to do nearly as well as many people might think, and obviously they will spin the numbers, say it's because of COVID, or hey, we're doing so well on HBO Max, you have no idea. So much so that you literally will have no idea how much money, if any, the film makes on the platform. It is very hard to see this for sure going forward. It goes on here, in IMAX, the Gal Gadot starred grossed $5 million from 31 markets. Of that, $3.8 million came from 680 screens in China. IMAX is also citing standout performances in Japan, Taiwan, Saudi Arabia, Singapore, Thailand, UAE, and the Ukraine. Overall, behind China, the best opening markets were Taiwan with $3.6 million on 296 screens, Thailand with $2 million, Brazil at $1.7 million, Japan at 1.6, and this is again what I'm getting back to. You have a film in Japan right now that is making massive amounts of money. Now, everyone's saying, oh, it's because it's based off of a very popular anime, based on a very popular manga, and so it makes a lot of sense as to why it's doing well. But the fact that you have a movie in Japan that's going to be it's already breaking records there, and is very close to actually surpassing their highest grossing film ever in Spirited Away during a pandemic, shows you that there is a certain type of content that some people do have a hunger to go watch. In Japan, obviously the marketplace is a lot more pro-anime, but some people have said, well, it's an anime, of course it's going to do well. But look at all the other animes that have been released in Japan and in other marketplaces in non-pandemic years. None of them have even gotten close to what Demon Slayer is doing right now, which tells me a couple of things. One, yes, it could be a more popular anime title that's been released there, and that's why it's doing well. But also, too, I think it's because people have a hunger for good content. They have a hunger for things that they actually want to see. Now, I know there are a lot of people that do indeed want to see Wonder Woman 1984, but I will say that based on the trailers and based on a lot of the word of mouth and some of these reviews that have been coming out, I really don't have that much excitement for it, to be perfectly honest. I had some, I thought the first film was actually a B-level film. It was fine, but the CGI at certain points, especially at the beginning, was not very good. And again, just because it's a good DC film does not mean that it's necessarily a good movie. I think Gal Gadot is a wonderful Wonder Woman. However, I do think that unfortunately the identity politics of the media surrounding the film has definitely hurt it in the eyes of a lot of people, and we can already see that taking place by the fact that the international marketplace isn't really taking the bait at this point. Now, I will say flat out, because I say it all the time, China sucks. China's run by a bunch of commies, and so therefore the $18 million we can't even really trust coming from them, because those numbers could have easily been skewed, or a wide variety of other things going on there. That all being said, I do think it is interesting nonetheless, though, that it's not doing as well as they thought. To say we expected it to do $60 million in an opening weekend and it only making 38.5 is also another reason why I am not really in the prediction market anymore, because this market is so unpredictable. I don't think anyone saw that Demon Slayer in Japan would be breaking records there, all the while giant films like Wonder Woman 1984 would be not making a whole lot of money and would be making almost half of what the expectations originally had. So this is obviously something that we're going to have to follow going forward, because is this going to be a trend as it opens up in different marketplaces that goes forward? Some people have been trying to say and troll me saying, well, my local theater, it's sold out. It's sold out. Yeah. I had to block that dude because he's been an asshat for a long time. But that dude also made up a good point, because guess what? Yes, sold out. When your theater is forced to be at 25% capacity, which is still pretty good during pandemic times, but please don't try and say, oh, look, but it's sold out here and it's sold out there, and not look at how the capacities have been impacted and affected, because if it's at a national chain, they cut their off at 25 to 40% capacity. So yeah, good job, it's sold out. Still only less than half the theater, which again is good for pandemic times and pandemic era, but still a far cry from everything else that we've seen previously. Now, I'm not saying that I think Wonder Woman 1984 is going to flop. I'm not saying that I think it's going to fail. But what I am saying is that it seems that this film is going to underperform based on the fact that people have had expectations for it being this incredibly successful movie, and so far it really not coming to fruition. This, all the while other films in other countries are doing incredibly well, seems to indicate that the marketplace, especially in America, might not yet be ready to go back to the theater, and it makes a lot of sense seeing that theaters have been shut down for so long, and we have stupid tyrannical governors like Governor Newsom in California and Governor Cuomo in New York who've said, yep, too bad, you can't open, but guess what, I can do whatever I want because I'm the governor, and it's rules for thee and not for me. Which, of course, as you all know, I think personally finds pretty damn ridiculous. All right, it goes on here. It says reviews and reactions outside of China have been solid, but as we noted all weekend, the lack of Wonder Woman 84 pickup in the Middle Kingdom remains the biggest issue. Critical and social scores were not good, with the length of the film and lack of action cited as concerns. There's also been discussion about soft marketing. The previous film opened to $38.7 million in China and went on to gross $90.5 million. This one will do $30 million maybe. As far as a max is concerned, that is not good. The family audience bump did not materialize over the weekend, with a 23% increase on Saturday versus what's usually about a 50% for a major movie, and then Sunday dropped to 37%. It is fair to say this was a sluggish weekend overall in China, where Dante Lam's local actioner The Rescue was number one with $36.1 million. His last film opened to $73 million. Then there's the issue of piracy, given Wonder Woman 84 will be available from December 25th on HBO Max domestically. Hackers could certainly hamper legs, while China next weekend is getting a bunch of new movies, including Shockwave 2. This week we'll see Diana Prince swing. Wait a minute. This week we'll see Diana Prince swing into 9 additional. What? Wait a minute. Don't you mean Princess Diana? I'm so confused by this wording here. To 9 additional marketplaces, including Korea and Australia, and obviously Korea will probably show up pretty well for the movie, if I could imagine. But as I said, it's opening up in these international marketplaces, and obviously this is where Hollywood has been putting a lot of their money. They've been banking on these giant films to do very well overseas, and I think that is their mindset going forward. They've given up on the American marketplace, and that's made very clear by the likes of Warner Brothers saying, all of our films will go to HBO Max and also theaters simultaneously, but come on, there's a pandemic, you should stay home, and you should social distance, and you should not live your life. And obviously that is going to be something that's going to have a major impact on whether or not this film is successful or not. And I think it's because, honestly, in their own damn hubris, they've thought, we'll do so well overseas that what we make in subscriptions will be perfectly fine for our United States marketplace, and there will still be some people that will go to the theaters, won't they? Yes, in certain marketplaces, I'm sure it'll do pretty well. In other marketplaces, probably not so well. And as I said, they've trained people to just stay at home, and this article does bring up a good point. Piracy is now becoming so much easier, where before you would have a recording of a screen and it would be really crappy and it would be really hard to get online because it's sometimes hard to record things in a movie theater, especially one that's packed. It is a lot easier for people to be able to access the data online and record it in a high quality file, and much easier than to get it online. And I think this is going to have a major impact on not only this film, but other big live action films going forward, and also any other big budget films going forward, especially into 2021. All that is to say, Wonder Woman 1984 not doing so well after its opening weekend overseas. However, it is still very early, and so I will not say that this film is a dud. However, it is definitely not looking good at this point in time. But anyway, what are your thoughts about this? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like this video, smash that like button, smash the rumble button, and also check out the links in the description of the video to find out where you can follow me on social media and also support the channel. You guys are all amazing and beautiful people. Have a wonderful day, and as always, God bless. And now for a huge shout out to all of my December Patreon and Subscribe Star members, starting off with Patreon Albertus Magnus, Andrew Hoyle, Animation Commentator Brian P., Dion, Divex, Enrique Evangelista, Father Christopher Miller, hail to you, Father, Father Damian Cook, Garrett Searles, Harold Francis, The Hunky Chunky Funky Monkey, Inflamed Wood, It's a Trap Productions, Jason Clark, Jacob Juice, Jay, Jeffrey Toon, Jonathan Carney, Kenneth Cameo, Laura Story, Mad Mitch Dunaway, Mike Jackson, Mr. Peabody and his evil twin with the beautiful hair, On to June, Orange Hat Reviews, Out of Step with Reality, Outpost Dyer, Riff Magos, Rosetta Allen, Steve Glasker, Miss Martin Muses, also known as Teresa Martin, Theodore Bendon, Tina Bogend, Tina B, and the Modern Major General, Laura Story. Gotta give you that shout out for that one time that you were doubled up. Thank you very much for being my Patreon members. And now a huge shout out to all of my December Subscribe Star members we have over there with Stand For, Perpetual Punster, Robert Revo, Mr. Roy, Glinzer, Darkstar 57, J. Alex McCarthy Jr., US 888209 Fast, Dean Heiss, J-Rod the Beer Guru, Nevadan G. Adams, and ZK Man. Thank you all so much for being my Patreon and Subscribe-Star members. If you want your name shouted out at the end of every video and live stream on the main channel, please consider joining over on those platforms. You can also get access to things like exclusive giveaways of 4Ks, Blu-rays. If you want a DVD, I guess you could also get a DVD as well, digital codes, and of course, you get to possibly join me on the channel once a month for the Chosen of Valhalla live stream and access to an exclusive podcast featuring John the Flick Pick Flickinger, where we have a lot of fun talking about movies and tons of other random things. Anyway, if you want to support these things, check out the links in the description of this video. And also, please consider joining my other channel, the OMB Report, where I talk about not just movies like I do over here, but I focus more so on politics, news, and culture in that order. You guys are all amazing. Thank you for your love and support. Have a wonderful day. And as always, God bless.